So everybody, welcome back to That Shit Builds. My name is Jerome, episode on the GL1100 here. I'm not really sure where I left off, but today I'm going to do the video on the timing belt replacement. I have them right over here. So these are the timing belts I'm going to put on the bike. I don't know how old these belts are on this bike. Maybe they're brand new, I don't know. They're a really critical part, so I'm going to replace these just because of that reason. Now as you can see, it's really cold in here.
Cold. So very cold.
So it's a good time to do this, I guess, especially because the engine needs to be dead stone cold. So I've been sitting here all overnight. It's really cold, so I don't have to worry about any hot parts or stuff that's not really aligned. I've got my manual also to guide me. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. The main thing is the timing marks are really important. If they're off, then you could seriously damage the engine, the valves and cylinders, so that would be a bad thing. I've no reason to assume that the timing is off. The bike sounds pretty good when it runs, so yeah, but I'm just going to replace this because I don't know how old they are. A lot of parts are worn on this thing over time, so I'm going to replace these. I've already done the covers, and I've removed the radiator like you've seen me do on the video on the radiator. So that's all gone. It gives me a lot more room to work on. I think if you've done this before, which I haven't, then you may get away with just moving the radiator a bit to the front, or maybe even leaving it there. But I'm completely new to this, so I've removed that, so you could leave that. So yeah, let's get into this video. It's going to be pretty technical, I think, this. I hope you can learn something and see what it does and what you need to do to get that belt off, and hopefully I can get it right. That would be nice. Okay, so I've taken the radiator off. As you can see, it's nice and accessible. Yeah, I'm just going to take off these timing belts. We can clean up these covers. There is something with this, as you can see, this seal over here is, especially when you look at it from the other side, it didn't look like really clear. It didn't connect really good, so I might have to get a new one for that. Let's get that off. I think these are 10mm bolts, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 over there. Should be pretty straightforward. Okay, that's a strange bolt, as you can see. Oh, that's a bit tight. So all three are like this, and only this one on the far left is a short one. So that's good to know. Right, so the bolts are out now. I need to separate them. Okay. So there's like little C-poles over here, and I put my screwdriver back there to push it out. The seals, yeah, they take their time, I guess. As you can see, that's all the sludge that came from the spark units. That's really nasty stuff. So these are the timing belts, as you can see, and the things I'm looking for right now, I'm just going to get my light, are the markings. So there's a marking over here, a blue mark, and there's one over there. And there's up over here. Roller looks pretty rusty. There's a few things that are important. There's a left and a right side. That's important. Now it's always focused on how you sit on the bike. So this is the right side, that is the left side. There's markings on these wheels over here with an R, an up, and a small arrow over here, and that should line up with this little marking. So the arrow is lining up with the little notch on the crankcase. Now the important thing to do is an inspection hole on the other side of the bike. So we're going to move over to that side first and have a look and see what that is, because that's where you see top dead center on piston number 1, if I'm correct. Yeah, piston number 1, top dead center. That's your starting point for all of this, and you have to make a mark on the crankcase thingy over here, so you know where top dead center is with this little crankcase. That's really important. So I haven't removed anything, nothing's loosened, and there's a 90mm socket to turn this engine over. But first let's have a look at that valve, that timing mark hole thingy, whatever. Okay, so this is the left side of the engine. There's a breather hose here that goes to the air filter and to the engine, and there's a cap over here. That's the inspection cap. Now to reach that properly, I'm going to remove the breather hose, which is fairly straightforward. As you can see, that's already starting to wear. I have to replace that. Alright, get that out of the way. And there's a cap. So let's see if I can unscrew this with this. Yeah, there it goes. There's an O-ring there, so keep an eye on that. Alright, so now you can see it really clearly. So there's the mark. I'm just going to rotate the engine now. And I've got the spark plugs out so it moves easier. There's a mark, T2, fire. That's T1. So it's top dead center on piston number 1. Now let's check that out. Piston number 1 is on the other side, so I'll just peep over there. But the markings are off, as you can see. So it's on this exhaust stroke. As you can see, the marking over here is wrong. The word up is down, which is not good. And the marking, so that little arrow over there, should line up over here, which it doesn't. Same over here. You can see it's down and the marking is incorrect. So we need to turn the engine a full turn again, which I'm doing over here with the socket. And what I'm looking for is lining up with those markings. So there's one over here and one just over there, which you can't see. I'm just going to move it over. There you go. So we're going to do full turn again. So T1, this is when it fires. And we should T1, T2 and fire. There's a T2, fire. And now, there it is. So this is top dead center, piston number 1. But you can see the arrow is now lining up with that little notch over there. There is no marking on this thing over here. And you can see that this one, the right side, so the arrow is lined up as well. And the word up is up. And I can see it's the same on the other side. So this is top dead center on the piston number 1. And I can see it over there. So this is piston number 1, number 3, and this is 2 and 4. And I've taken the spark plugs out now. I'm kind of pushing these over it so nothing drops in there, because that can happen real easy, like a screw or something, or dirt. I don't want that. I am going to put a small mark on that crankcase, on this thing, so I know where top dead center is on the center shaft, I think it's called, or something. All right. Don't know if it works, but it's the best I've got. All right, so that's marked. These are marked. So this should stay like this right now. The next thing I'm going to do is this one's at the front, so I'm going to do the right side first. Release the tension bolt over here. So this tension bolt, don't know if you can see that. And then take away this belt. Do the same thing on the other side, and then put everything back. And as you can see, there's a bolt here, and there's one over there as well. But this one actually goes up and down a bit, and that tension spring helps to do that. Oh, there it goes. Got it. Thank God for that.
Number 1.
So as you can see, there's already thread coming through. And also on the other side. So I don't know if that's how they're made, and it doesn't really matter, but it's noticeable. The other one is the same, so that spring's pretty good still. So the tensioner roll is dirty, but it spins okay. I don't hear any sounds from it. It doesn't wiggle. So I guess I'm just going to clean this a bit. It's a bit dirty. All right, next up is this one. Hopefully that comes off easier than the other one. Just going to take it off so I can clean that tension roll. This one with the spring has a washer on it on the outside. The other one doesn't. All right, there it is. Tension roll, as you can see, it's kind of rusty. Rolls okay. Don't know if you can lube this. I can't open it, that's for sure. Okay, let's do that in a minute. Now let's get this belt off. There's the other belt. Same with the other one. It's got like this part where the thread's coming through. Don't see any cracks or anything, but maybe that's normal. If I wanted to, I could replace these as well, but I don't know. I don't see any point in doing that right now. They roll fairly easily, so I don't think there's anything wrong with them. So be sure to put that washer there, and the other one doesn't have a washer. So this is just hand tight. All right. All right. That's it. Marking's good. Okay, so I'm in doubt, very much doubt. So when I took everything off, this blue marking was sort of aligned with that, and there's a little arrow here. So this was over there, but there's a marking here, and it's over there as well. So I'm thinking, isn't this the correct timing mark, like I have it right now? Because when you go to the other side, I've repositioned this in a similar way as I found it. So the blue marking that was here and on the crankcase, I'm just going to try and get you right in front of it. It's lined up as it was, but there's a marking as well there, that little arrow, but the little indentation is also lined up. So I'm really curious if that was lined up correctly. So that's a big difference. That's like 2 or 3 of these teeth, so to speak. The crankcase is still at top dead center on piston number 1. Yeah, because this thing actually kind of flipped back when I took off the belt. So I brought it back to that position, and this one also wants to go back, so I had to use a wrench to get this in position and put that belt on. And when the engine was running, I could hear like a thumping sound coming from this, slightly, not a lot, but only when it was idling. So I am very, very uncertain what to do now. I think I'm going to stop here, have a real good look. What I could do is tension these things up and then rotate the entire engine. And if it's snagged somewhere, then I know I'm not okay. If it turns freely, then there should be no problem. But that's a big difference from there to there. Why is that blue marking there and not there? What could be the reason for that? Why is the right one, this arrow, not the same as that marking, which it is on the other side? I'm going to do some research before I continue. So I did some reading and confirmed it online, but also in the manual. So clearly it says that the arrow has to be aligned with the marking, same as here. So this means that this thing is now not aligned. So I need to get this down to align with this marking over here. So this little notch here doesn't mean anything. So I think that's weird, but I guess that little arrow there that set me off. So I'm going to undo the belt again and then turn it until I get that line proper. There's another thing about these bolts. You can't find any tension or bolt torque settings, but I found some that said it's about snug. I'd say 40 foot-pounds, I'd say 20 foot-pounds, so I'm going to go with 20 because that would feel just about right, I think. Just nudging this off the belt. See, it flies back straight away. So, that's the best way. All right, that's it. Yeah, I like that. I think if I tension this, yeah, that feels okay. I'm going to tighten this. So new springs, new belts, timing. Okay, so let's do a full rotation. So that's full rotation and then again, and see if anything happens. Oh, here it goes. Feels okay. We should be there again. Okay, so this is a cover of the timing belts. As you can see, it's pretty dirty. It's got a lot of rusty spots everywhere, but I think it's still in pretty good condition. So I'm just going to try and use basic stuff. See if I can get this in a better condition than it is right now. Something we use a lot here in Holland. It's very cheap. Yeah, it's like a grease remover. It's really good for getting grease off barbecue grills or chains or stuff like that, or cookers. Now it's fairly pitted, if I'm to be honest. Alright, so still quite a lot of pitting. I'm just going to get some aluminum foil with water. Alright, so some water. Get this nice and wet. So I got this Belgacom Chrome from Biker's Best. Just have a go, see what this does. Yeah, this shows how pitted it is. You can see it. So what do you think? It has improved, but the problem is still there. The chrome is like really affected. A lot of pitting here. So the only thing for this would be to be re-chromed or kept in the position as it is right now, which I am doing. Trying to preserve it as is and keep it away from water and moisture, because it's going to rust straight away. Let's get the other one, see the difference. So that's the difference. It's just there is a big difference, clearly. It shines a lot more, but it's going to come back really quick, I think. I've done both covers right now, as you can see. They look a lot better. They actually shine. Like I've shown, I've used this chrome stuff, which I got from Biker's Best in Holland. I think it does a really good job if there is chrome. Now, this thing is really pitted. Both of them are. I think you can see that in the video. Even after I've done the work with the aluminum foil, I can clearly see that there are parts that are not going to go away. It's too damaged. It is what it is. So I think this stuff works if the chrome is still good and it really brings out the shine as it does with this. But if it's too far gone, like these are, it's not going to magically reappear the chrome. It just doesn't work that way. I think we'll kind of keep the rust where it is right now. So if I keep doing this, it will stay in this state as it is right now, which is okay. If you want to get this pristine again, an original, you have to have re-chromed. Now, I'm guessing there will be like 200 euros for each of these panels, if not more. I think you might as well get new ones if they're available. If not, it's re-chroming, and that's really expensive. If that's your thing, if you've got the money for it, go for it. But I just want to keep them running. I don't want to restore them in pristine condition. If they run, I think that's good enough for me. And if there's a little shine to them as well, and if there's a little wear and tear on them, that's cool as well. So for now, I think they improved. They look a lot better. We'll do some more chrome bits and kind of try and shine them up, because that stuff does do the shine stuff. But for these, it's the best we can do, I guess. How long is this one? Excuse me. Okay, so that's the valve covers back on. on both sides. Timing set. Covers polished the best I could. Yeah, so next up is thermostat housing cleaning and water pump house cleaning, putting that back together and have another go with the radiator. But for now, this job is done.